Alright, actually I'm live streaming again, so if you're entering this live stream, the last video was basically useless because I had a bunch of tech issues and my computer crashed completely. So, I love the smell of burnt coffee and existential dread in the morning. Is that Apocalypse Now reference? Holy moly. You guys are too young for that. That's hilarious. Okay, so we're getting close. Miguel, you got your new monitor? Can we trade? No, it's just my morning. Not a reference. There's a famous movie where, very famous, called Apocalypse Now, and in one of the key scenes, key moments, there's this like it's a war movie, and this huge explosion happens, just decimates this jungle and forest and stuff. Oh, you know the reference? Yeah. Well, for those who don't, um, he goes, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." It's like, that gasoline smell. Um, it's a very iconic scene in history. I love the smell of toast before my stroke. Okay, what? I don't. All right. Let's continue, and hopefully there's no technical issues this time. Something you could do is when Unreal opens up, there's a little in the bottom right. It says, "Hey, your editor crashed. Would you like to open what you had open last time?" And so I always like to click open because then it's going to automatically open this stuff, which is really nice. All right. So what we're going to do is going to third-person character. We need to create a death event and then game mode. So what we're going to do is, I mentioned before, let's make a custom event called Advance to Next Round. So Advance to Next Round. The reason we put this on the game mode is so that our character can, so that multiplayer characters can actually advance to the next round. If you put this on the character, things are only local to that character. If you have 4 characters, they're all having different variables, different values for different things, which is okay for things like health, not okay for things like current round, okay? Current round kind of needs to go into the cloud. And we all ask the great mighty cloud, what is the current round? Is the current round over? Should we advance to the next round? And then that information gets disseminated to all of the people playing. So that is why we put this in the game mode. So advance to next round is this. Obviously what we're going to do is, let's say, set current round to itself plus 1. Bam. So this is going to increment the round forward. And then what we're also going to want to do is kind of call that spawning event that causes the spawn to happen. So let's actually look at our spawning code. I had these cool like spawners before, and now I'm like, instead of doing this, which is before we were saying, hey, remember event tick is every frame all the time. We're saying every 10 seconds spawn 5 more guys. Every 10 seconds spawn more guys. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. First off, this spawn code lives on this blueprint already. Great. So why don't we call it from our game mode? So hey, if advance to next round happens, we do this thing, we're going to let's do a get all actors of class, which is a way of getting all of a certain blueprint type in the level. We'll look for the spawning volume. And what we're going to do is we're going to, so it's going to spit out a bunch of answers. There could be 1 spawning volume in the level. There could be 200 spawning volumes in the level. So we do what's called a for each loop to go through each of those things and do code on it. And we want to do the same thing for each of them. We just want to say, hey, spawn some new enemies. Spawn, I think is what we name it. Spawn bikini bottom enemy zombies. And we'll say, yeah, we want you to spawn. And here's the question. The good question. How many do we spawn on these spawning volumes? We want that to kind of increase. I could put 5 here, be like, yeah, every new round you spawn 5. But you want it to actually go up based on the round number. So what we could do is something kind of crazy here. We could do like a multiple where we get this number. We say, well, take the current round and multiply it by, let's do something not too aggressive with it. Let's do it by 1.25 or something. Right? It's going to, over time, it's going to add up to a lot more enemies. But, going from round 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, it won't be too aggressive. Whereas if I said double the amount of enemies you're spawning every time, it's just gonna, that would be way too crazy, too fast. Let's try that. Okay. I don't want to truncate though. Can I want to do the other type of rounding. Okay, this rounds up, which is what you want. All right. We'll see. This is definitely a number probably worth tweaking. Now, this doesn't get triggered, though, yet until we know that there are enough people. We have to do some sort of event that checks if all the zombies are dead. So we're going to do this. Custom event. Check if remaining... check if enemies remain on map. Zombies spawn more when there's 4 players, I think. Oh, really? Okay. So what we could do, not now, but later, is come in here and even further add to this calculation and do things like get number of players and then multiply as well. Which makes sense, right? Because the game experience, if you have 4 players, there should be more zombies. It totally makes sense. So check if remaining zombies on the map. We're going to do this thing. Maybe I can lift this from our widget because I think we basically did this same code I'm about to write on the widget. So just copy and paste. We did there. So let's see, remaining. Character blueprint. Oh, okay, I did on the character blueprint. So let's actually see what he's doing there. Get all actors of class. Yeah, this was the code that we can do. And then remaining enemies. So basically just lift this. Remaining enemies 1 + 1. Yeah, we could probably do that. And we actually have a variable called remaining enemies on our that we made or we're going to make on here. So we'll do that now. So I'm just copying and pasting that code. And we'll end up deleting that from the character. We just need this code in one spot. Whenever the character needs to know, we'll just ask the game mode at this point. Alright, so check if enemies remain on map, get all actors of class. No, we don't want to do that part, actually. Right? Oh, man, there's a couple ways to do this. Yeah, you know what we're going to do? So we're going to do a plus variable. We're going to change this boolean to the variable type zombie. We probably want to change it from a zombie to something else at some point. And we're going to make what's called an array out of this thing. So I'm going to name this enemies remaining. An array variable is a variable that stores a list of the same type. So I can have a list of zombies. So that's what we're going to do. So if I hit get, you'll notice that these icons are basically identical. Right here, this, and the out actors of get all actors of class. But this way, just thinking for a second. Yeah, I do want to do this. Okay, let's delete that. Get all actors of class is gone, and now when we check, we're going to ask our variable called enemies remaining. By the way, how are we going to fill this variable? You know, how does the variable? There's nothing. We haven't told it to put any enemies in this list, and ideally, we want all the enemies in the list. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But first, what this event's going to do is enemies remaining for each. Is their variable called isDead. Remember, that gets checked to true or false, depending on whether the guy dies or not. And if it's true, we'll trigger advance to next round. Perfect. Actually, what you want to do, we'll do advance to next round. Presumably, we would play the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs laugh. I don't know if I want to open Audacity just yet or not, but that would happen. And then there'd be a delay before we do all the spawning, because, you know, there's like that time for you to like go collect weapons and stuff. So we'll have some kind of delay of like, I don't know, 10 seconds or something before that chaos ensues. So let's, we'll put that delay in now, though. No, yeah, never mind. It's the same amount of zombies. Oh, really? Same amount on single or I guess like it could work as the same amount of zombies because you just end up advancing rounds way faster when you play multiplayer. So it's still the same relative amount of difficulty. So is dead, yes, and we're going to make a variable on here called remaining enemies. You can just right click and hit create remaining enemies. Okay. And let's get rid of the third-person characters whole this. Let's get rid of that, right? Yeah. We can get rid of that now. Now there's an issue there, which is our widget is depending on, right here, asking the character blueprint for remaining enemies. But now that's not even being updated because I have to leave the code. It's okay. We're going to now ask the game mode, which is a better place to store remaining enemies for its remaining enemies. A couple ways we could do this. We could just ask it for the array, and then ask for the length of the array. How many items are in the array? Do that. Let's start by doing that. Connect, bam, bam, bam. All right. You know what? Now I don't even think I want to have a number variable that stores the remaining enemies. So for that, going back to let's see. Okay, COD game mode. Check if enemies remain on map. Go back to third-person character. I haven't had my coffee yet, guys, either. But I'm getting that next. What am I trying to do? Oh. Well, the zombies never show up in our custom thing called enemies remaining, so let's do that right now. Here's how to do that. We'll just say, hey, when the thing is spawned, remember this? When it's spawned, aka when on begin play, we're going to add this zombie, the one that just got spawned, to the game mode's variable called current list of zombies. Perfect. Super. That's a foolproof way of doing it. So we need to get game mode. We need to cast to COD game mode. And then and since it's happening on begin play, it'll only happen once. But we're going to get the enemy list, get enemies remaining. Since you've just spawned, you're now going to be in remaining until you die, right? And we want to add it to the list. Now I like doing when you can do the add node, but I like to do add unique because in case somehow this code at some point gets re-triggered or something, it's not because I'm begin play, but if it did, add unique. If this exact instance of the zombie is already in the list, it's not going to add it again. It's only going to add unique items to the list. So what do we put in for here? The zombie that's being added? This blueprint itself, right? Get reference to self. Okay. Add this blueprint itself to the list. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, that should work. We'll know if our HUD shows that there's like a certain number of zombies. So hit play. Remaining, it says 0. So that's not good. Oh, wait, no. Thinking. Oh, did I did it remaining here. Oh, why do I have 2 remainings? Oh, this one's not even bound to anything. So it's weird. Can I bind it to the same thing? All right, maybe when I play. Nothing I see there. Casting game mode. So now I'm thinking, okay, why would I get that? First, I want to make sure that my actual game mode is the COD game mode. You know, if it's not set as that your game mode is the one that you created in project settings, and it's not the one until you set it. Oh, no COD game mode. Okay. Open it up. Check if enemies remain on map. Enemies remaining. Variable. Make it public to be safe. All the zombies are told, hey, when you spawn, I want to cast. The only thing I can see is the cast failing for some reason? Let's print string. If I see a bunch of hellos on the left, then I'll know. Yeah, okay, that's weird. So why would it fail? Why would you fail to cast to our game mode? Is it possible that the world settings for this dang level, I figured out the problem, are the third-person game mode? Yes, they are. So I'm going to hit the reset on that. I want it to be the COD game mode. Now when we hit play, Look at your widget. It says 5. Okay, that was our issue. Now when I kill these guys, is it going to drain them? No, because I haven't done that yet. But that part's easy now. Super easy. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our zombie and, you know that death event we did? When he dies, we're going to tell the game mode, hey, take me out of that list. We'll do that right now. So, okay, he is dead, yes. So right here, and again, we were doing this remaining enemies thing on the character, player character. Again, I'm not going to, enemy health, that's all fine. Bikini Bucks is fine. But this stuff over here, done with it. Again, it doesn't make sense to store stuff on the character that's true for everybody in a multiplayer game. So what we're going to do is now get game mode. You guessed it, cast to COD game mode, and call that custom event we made in the beginning called check, I think. Check something. Check if enemies remain on map. Oh, one more thing before we do that. But get the game mode, right? And get the remaining enemies. And remove an item from the array. Remove item. What am I removing? Self. Because we know we've already been stored in this because that's what happened in the beginning. Remove self. So, okay. Let's see. Thinking it through. I just want to organize my wires a little bit. All right, so check if enemies remain on map is what happens next. So what's nice is the death event itself causes us, and again, I can get rid of remaining enemies. We're not doing that, the number stuff anymore with that. Each time you die, or an NPC dies, I should say, we trigger this, hey, check if that was the last one. Check the remaining ones, and that kind of thing. Check if remaining enemies are, and this part's not quite correct. We just want to move this to the side. We only want this to happen when everybody is dead. So what we could do is, okay, check if they're all dead. And if they're dead, they've been removed from the list, correct? So what if we just, after this part of code, say, hey, is the length of the list equal to, I like to do less than or equal to, just in case, to 0. That means there's no enemies remaining, right? Okay, if that's true, and only if it's true, we'll do the true branch. Are we going to trigger advance to the next round? We're just going to advance to the next round. Okay? Let's also make sure, just real quick, that our HUD, I know I'm going slightly over time, but let's just get this stuff working. Is our round, oh, this is our round number up here. Maybe, guys, we should put our round number over here. So, because I have it remaining, and then I have this number for round. So, oh, that's the Bikini Bucks. Okay, yeah, so stuff's kind of confusing me. So, no, this is Bikini Bucks. Okay, so this needs to be our round. We're going to create a new binding. Get game mode. What do we do next? Somebody say it. Unmute your mic. If you're dragging off get game mode, what do we do? It rhymes with blast Shane Toad. Could it be cast to game mode? Well, you would be correct. And we're going to ask it for the round, the current round, which is an integer. And stick that right in. And I'm going to move this over, probably over here. I saw in some of the Call of Duty HUDs for research that they actually keep it on the left like that, and they make it really big, the round. We got to find like a bikini bottom font or something. Some of you have sent me some emails and stuff to bring in, so we'll do that at some point. All right, so okay, it says round 1, enemies remaining 5. I'm gonna kill that guy. That's 4. 4 left, 3 left, 2 left, 1 left. All right, when I kill this next one, is it gonna advance the round? No. No, so my theory there, and this happens sometimes, is what you're going to do is you're going to realize, go back to our game mode, that because enemies remain less than, let's change this to less than 1. And let's just audit this code. Yes, advanced, okay. Yeah. The reason is, and this is one of those tricky things you don't realize until you're like actually programming stuff, is arrays count from 0, start at 0 when they're counting instead of 1. Let's see if this one works. So when I kill this guy, is it going to advance the round? Okay, no, it didn't. Hold on. Check if enemies remain on map. We are calling that, right? We're calling that on the death event, right? Guy's dead. He set his collision set off. Get game mode. Remove the enemies remaining. Self. I don't. Maybe that's not what we want. Remove all instances. Well. Check if enemies on map. Yes. Enemies remaining. If that is true. Possibly all we need to do is this part. Two lefts. Okay, that did work. It's slightly incorrect, the math. But it did work that time. So now I'm thinking that all I gotta do is set this to 0. So something about having this check before it, which is really unnecessary, did that. Let's just test it now with the new numbers and make sure that works. Okay, on this last guy, the number on the left should go from 1 to 2. And it did. All right, our code works. We figured it out. Even with our tech issues, I feel like we got some good stuff done. I didn't get to the player dying yet, which is something I really want to do. Guys, get me models. I want Krabby Patties. I want Patty Wagons. I want everything to do. I want jellyfish. I want spatulas. I want Krusty Krab men. I want planktons. Anything, okay? If you find it on Turbo Squid, which is an ironic name for the game we're making, I want it. Get it to me, please, okay? It'll be good, and then we won't have to make that in class, and we'll throw it in, and we'll have a really good time. Thank you again for the laugh sound effect. I need more sound effects for sure. Remember, they have to come in as WAV files. If you know to use Audacity and can add a little reverb to it and make it feel right for a game, do it. Awesome. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to the things you guys are going to come up with. Other than that, keep an eye on Canvas.